Minnesota Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer's derriere could and should be firmly a little bit muy caliente on the hot seat as the Vikings back their way into the playoffs. And with Black Monday approaching for head coaches in the NFL on Monday, what if things really get nuts with the Vikings and Mike Zimmer starts drawing interest from the Dallas Cowboys? Dun, dun, dun. Let's talk about today. Also talk about subscribing. Come along for daily Vikings takes and content. And the drums know the like is already in. Helps new people find the show, etc. Also, like us on the Twitch and on the Facebook, just in case we get kicked off of here for more hate speech. That's what we do. And after the Vikings beat the Cowboys this season, there was all the niceties floating around, but also it was pretty interesting to note that Cowboys owner Jerry Jones had profuse praise. It was very sweet on Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer, almost to the point of what do they call it, tampering, maybe. Yeah, and for a good reason, because Jerry Jones knows Mike Zimmer. Zimmer had been a star of the Cowboys for 13 seasons from 1994 to 2006 on the coaching staff. Spent 6 seasons as defensive backs coach. Won a ring during that time with the, what was his name? The Cowboys coach after Jimmy Johnson. Oh, Barry Switzer. Yeah, the douchebag. Then 7 seasons as defensive coordinator under Bill Parcells and Dave Campo. Won a ring in 1995 with the aforementioned Barry Switzer, beating the Steelers. No big deal. Now, Jerry Jones has swung for the fences before on his head coaching hires, and I think he's going to this time around as well. Oklahoma's Lincoln Riley keeps coming up. Mercenary, convenient heart attack victim, oddly silent at times, Urban Meyer. I'm sure will come up for discussion. Baylor's Matt Rule has been a name that's been bandied about recently as a trendy college coach du jour. Now, Jerry Jones is a weird cat because when he took over the Cowboys, he fired Tom Landry. I mean, people forget that. Like I'm too young. I'm too young for that. But even younger people don't even realize that he fired God, essentially, when it comes to Texas football. And then he brought in some college coach with the plastic hair, Jimmy Johnson. And then Jimmy Johnson, of course, bent the Vikings over backwards, RIP Mike Lynn, in the Herschel Walker trade. Great. Yeah. And then they won 2 Super Bowls under Jimmy, won a 3rd under Barry Switzer, mainly with Jimmy's guys, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But since then, I mean, Jerry Jones really likes a yes man. And I think that's why Jason Garrett has survived for as long as he has, because he is a guy who acquiesced to Jerry Jones' megalomaniacism. It's not a word, but you know what I mean. But also, when he has deviated from it, he has found some success. I mean, under Bill Parcells, he did acquiesce a bunch of the power. Then you see Sean Payton coming out from there. Mike Zimmer's also from that coaching tree. They found Tony Roma. They had a modicum of success, like the most success that they've had since the good old days of winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. But Jerry Jones, he lives for that nostalgia. And after he swings and misses on the 3 hot coaches and everyone else, because no one wants to coach under Jerry Jones, I think he may go under Mike Zimmer. Because Mike Zimmer, he was part of those glory days teams. He coached Deion Sanders and Darren Woodson and Super Bowl MVP Larry Brown. Yeah, Larry Brown. Cool. So maybe Jerry wants to go with a hashtag Throwback Thursday and brings Zim back in. And also, I think Zim would be fine. In terms of wanting control over personnel, I don't think Zim gives 2 rips about it at all. I mean, sure, he will be in the draft room. He'll have his 2 cents on defensive players. He'll have a shopping list. But overall, I think he just wants to coach football. And I think that would be something that would match up very well with what Jerry Jones wants to do in his golden years there in Dallas. And I think Zim could do really well with the Cowboys. He can amp up that defense. He's got some great pieces. DeMarcus Lawrence is a stud. Byron Jones. He's got the best offensive line in football, which would be a nice change of pace for Zimmer. Zeke is legit. Of course, Zimmer wants to run the piss out of the football. They have the personnel to do that. Amari's a stud as well. I have no idea about Dak, except Zimmer knows about highly paid quarterbacks that you can't really trust, or you don't know if you can trust. There you go. What if this gets really nuts? So Jerry brings in Zimmer, and then Zimmer says, I don't want Dak. Let's Dak go. Teddy to Dallas. Oh, my God. I just gave myself a heart attack. And now I'm going to take the Ohio State job. And then the Vikings could be free to elevate Stefanski, who will be a hot head coaching candidate in the next cycle. Yeah, I fully understand what happened Monday, recency bias. But you look at the Vikings offense, you look at the running game, 32nd league last year, one of the best in the league this year. You look at what Kirk Cousins has done from year 1 to year 2. Kevin Stefanski deserves a lot of credit for that, and he will be parlaying that into a head coaching job very, very soon, if not this offseason. He already had an interview last offseason for the Browns opening before it went to Freddie Kitchens. So the problem with this could be the timeline. A lot of moving pieces this time of year. Now, the Cowboys season likely ends on Sunday. I don't see them winning the East. So Garrett could be let go on Monday, or he's out of contract on Monday, one of the two. Oklahoma's in the playoffs, so they could already be out of it this weekend because they're playing number 1 seed LSU. Baylor plays on New Year's Day in Sugar Bowl, so that's Lincoln Riley, that's Matt Rule. Also, it's like recruiting season, pretty heavy. So whatever. So Jerry would have to make something happen quick if he wants to snatch up one of those two jabronis. But if he gets rejected by the college guys, and Urban Meyer says no, and then some other names that he snap around say no because they don't want to work under the yoke of Jerry Jones, then he could circle back to Zim and say the Vikings, knock on wood, somehow go one and done. Wait, if you knock on wood, it's something you don't want to happen. So hopefully the Vikings don't go one and done. You get the gist of it. And that week might be enough time to let Jerry really start digging in and going after Zimmer. Now, the Vikings, interesting spot. They still have Zimmer under contract through 2020. I mean, they may fire him, they may not, depending on what happens with the playoffs. Even though the Vikings made the playoffs, if they go one and done, and if they go one and done badly, I think Zimmer's future could greatly be up in the air. But say if Jerry calls that, hey Rick, hey the Wilfs, I want Zim, and maybe it could be a spot where they could work out some sort of trade compensation. It has happened before. Look at John Gruden going from Oakland to Tampa first time. And maybe, or look at what happened Belichick and the Jets when he basically just left the Jets to go take the Patriots job. The Patriots had to send the Jets some draft compensation. So they could work something out here. I don't think it'll be a lot, because I think Jerry Jones is sharp enough to realize that Zimmer may be on his way out here in Minnesota anyway, and plus he doesn't have many years left on his contract. So maybe something like a second-round pick, and it could be a win-win all the way around. Zimmer gets a fresh start in Dallas. Vikings start to move in the 21st century under Stefanski, who has been Kirk Cousins' BFF, and maybe say the Vikings hold on to George Edwards and the bulk of that defensive staff. Andre Patterson, hopefully he stays put, but Edwards stays here and calls plays and runs the defense. It could work. I mean, it's something that could work. Now, here's the thing. I like Zim, but you do have to wonder at a certain point, is Zimmer going to take this team to the next level? I do have questions and certain doubts about that. And then, say you do roll with Zimmer for one more year, Stefanski leaves and takes a head coaching job this offseason, and then you fire Zimmer next offseason anyway, and then you're starting all over from scratch. And Kirk Cousins' contract is up, which may be a good or bad thing depending on how you see things. The future of the Vikings is really going to come down to like a week or two this offseason, and I'm a little nervous about it. But this is one of many scenarios. I'm sure in the number of simulations that we live in, this has happened 10,000 times out of 10 million. But it's something that certainly could be on the table. As the offseason, there's always one sleeper candidate who gets the axe or gets the heave-ho. Zimmer could be that guy. It couldn't end up in Dallas. Let's get nuts. Anyways, your thoughts? Zimmer potentially ending up with the Cowboys? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe Daily Vikings Takes. If you want to support the work, pull us up in the Venmo. Plus, give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skol, production value.